It's game day, Seminole fans. Finally, Florida State returns to the field after 2 weeks off to take on the NC State Wolfpack in the ACC and home opener. Here's your 3 keys to victory. I'm Lane Hurt along with Tim Lenefelt. Tim, let's get right to it. Number 1, freshman quarterback starting for the Seminoles, James Blackman. Probably a good idea to get him comfortable and in a rhythm early on in this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, whether it's through establishing the running game, setting up some short to intermediate throws, maybe to a running back, maybe to a tight end like Ryan Izzo. Just finding a way to let him take a deep breath. I'm sure there's going to be some nerves and some butterflies for him. Finding a way just to let him get his bearings, look around the stadium, take a deep breath and say, okay, I can do this.
Let's get to key number 2, forcing a turnover on defense. NC State's quarterback Ryan Finley has gone 192 pass attempts without throwing an interception. Wolfpack do have a couple fumbles on the season, but to get a short field for Blackman and the offense, try to create some momentum, maybe even score on defense.
Absolutely, and like you said, fumbles are fine too. If you want to pick off Ryan Finley, that's okay, but you can take a fumble, that's fine. Look at the Alabama game. Alabama forced 3 turnovers. Florida State didn't have any. It's not hard to, you wonder to yourself, well, gee, if Florida State had forced 1 or 2 or had, 1 or 2 less, maybe that game goes a little bit differently. I don't know that NC State is quite up to the caliber of Alabama, but look, we all know, you could say this is a key to the game every single week, but it really is true. If you win the turnover battle, you're probably going to win the game, especially in a home game, your first home opener. Florida State fans haven't seen Florida State on a field of any kind in 3 weeks. I mean, can you imagine what the atmosphere in there will be like if you finally see Florida State playing a home game and say, middle of the first quarter, even first drive of the game, that defense forces a turnover, sets up a short field, and a few plays later, Florida State scores a touchdown with James Blackman, who I suspect the fan base will probably rally around really nicely this weekend. I mean, something like that, just such a quick haymaker to the mouth, that's how blowouts happen. That's how games get away from other teams. Something like that would be just, I think, a dream scenario for Florida State.
Finally, key number 3, special teams. Going back to that Alabama game, there were some struggles in the special teams areas for the Seminoles. They've had plenty of time to clean those things up. A big special teams play, converting on field goals, punting, putting the team inside the 10-yard line if possible on a punt. And these are all things that can help flip field position and make life easier for the Seminoles.
Well, this kind of goes back to, I think it dovetails with what we just said a second ago about turnovers. Is Alabama, I don't think Alabama had a great special teams day at all, no. But they were a big difference in the game, and so much of Florida State's troubles were, shooting themselves in the foot. They aided Alabama, and so you just can't do that at this level of college football. NC State, I mean, that's a quality team. They have good players. If you turn the ball over at any phase of the game, but particularly on kickoffs when you're probably near your own goal line or have a hard time punting or whatever the case may be, that all translates to field position, hidden yards, as Jimbo Fisher likes to say, and it's how teams who should win games end up losing games. So, not everything has to be perfect, obviously, but I think it would just be a really encouraging sign for certainly fans, players, coaching staff to see some signs of improvement on Saturday.
There we have it, Seminole fans. Your 3 keys to a Florida State victory. Finally, the Seminoles return to the field. It's the Noles and the Wolfpack at noon inside Doak Campbell Stadium. Make sure you are inside to support your Noles. Afterwards, of course, Tim will have his written analysis. We'll have highlights, post-game reaction from players and head coach Jimbo Fisher as well. For Tim, I'm Lane. Let's play some football.
I'm all for it.
Go Noles.